So what does this social field, which is the sum total of the relationship that we enact as human beings, the social, economic, and all the other relationships, what does that really look like? And what kind of this moment of disruption that many people, the fact that we collectively create results that nobody wants in almost any kind of system today, how can we make sense of that? And I would like to share kind of a simple drawing or image with you that you probably have seen many, many times, which is the iceberg model. There's like this simple idea. There's like 10% of reality is visible above the waterline, and then there's the other 90%, which are part of reality, the other 90% of the system that are less directly accessible to the eye. And what I have found helpful is to frame the disruption that currently, or the surface level of the disruption that currently is going on in terms of these three divides, which is the ecological divide, the social-economic divide, and the spiritual divide. And the ecological divide basically arises from a disconnect between self and nature and is manifesting in many forms that we are all very familiar with. And it's probably best summarized with the number 1.5. We currently operate a global economy that is using 1.5 planets. So we use 1.5 times the regeneration capacity of planet Earth. And that number keeps be going up. The social-economic divide arises from the disconnect between self and other, and manifests in many forms of polarization, of conflict, of inequity, of poverty, of loss of structure and destruction. Of a general sense of that we live in a very, very fragile world or order that can be disrupted any moment. So those two things are talked about a lot. But the third one, the spiritual divide, I think gets less attention. And yet it came up earlier this afternoon. So what I mean with spiritual divide is basically a disconnect between self and self. A disconnect between who I am today with who I could be tomorrow, between my current self and my emerging future self. And if, in my experience, if I experience that disconnect, it shows up in symptoms like energy loss, like depression, like burnout, and even like suicide. In 2010, more people killed themselves than were killed by others through murder, war, and any kind of violent conflict, and natural disasters combined. So more people, in spite of all the violence going on, many more people kill themselves than are being killed through others. So that's a hidden dimension there. And yet, of course, it belongs to the picture. And if we, picking up another distinction we heard this afternoon, reacting versus responding. What we do in society is we react against these systems. We have one or several ministries for each, one or several clusters of NGO focusing on all these issues, producing silo solutions. And only more recently, we started to realize that these are not three problems. They are three different manifestations of one and the same problem.